What's up everybody, it's Paul from Boosted Films, and in this video we're going to change the cabin air filters on this 2023 Tesla Model 3. Now this particular Tesla is the performance version, but this process should be pretty much similar for all Model 3s. I recommend you change your cabin air filters pretty much every year. It's just a cheap, easy maintenance thing to do. And if you want to buy the exact filters I used in this video, I'm going to put a link in the video description down below, and I'll also pin the top comment. So let's jump into this job. First thing we want to do with this job is actually just turn off our blower motor, turn off our AC. So I'm going to click the temperature button on the screen and then just click the power button in the upper left of that AC menu. And that'll make sure our fans are turned off. You can also do this in the Tesla app under the climate menu. Now we're going to open up our passenger side door and move our seat back to give us some extra room. We're going to have to remove this side kick panel here, and if you have any floor mats in, it's probably best just to take them out and get your floor mats out of the way. Again, removing this side panel on the left, but also this panel that's kind of a kick panel above the passenger side feet. Well, we're going to have to remove a panel up there as well. I'm going to open up what I ordered here for these cabin air filters, because it does have some tools, so these could come in handy for you if you want to use these tools to help pry off these trim pieces, since the orange part was a trim removal tool. But the easiest way I found to kind of remove this inner trim piece here was to grab up towards the top, towards the front of the car, and then start working my way down and pulling this free. This did require a good amount of force, not gonna lie. It was pulled on there, pushed on there pretty tight, but you should be able to work your way around and pull it off. Once it's off, you can see the protruding parts on the other side. You can see where it kind of lines up and snaps in place. And real quickly, just showing you this far cover here for this one towards the firewall is where our cabin air filter is going to be. And then this other trim piece up top here with a light and a speaker in it is one we're going to have to remove next. And it does have 4 different spots that kind of hold in place here. So I'm going to use a different tool I had to release these. You could use any type of flathead screwdriver as well, but these 4 push-in style clips that hold it in place, we're just going to have to remove all 4 of those. Once all 4 of those are kind of out of the way, pulled out, you should be able to pull this piece down. I found it easier to pull down on this left side first and then start kind of working my way around to pull this piece free. Again, after those 4 clips are out of the way, this kind of just snaps in place in certain areas, so you should be able to pull it down. But once you pull it down, you need to pull it forward and pull it towards you to get it off a part in the back that holds it up as well. You should be able to just leave it hang like that, but if you want to remove those clips, you could remove those clips as well and get it entirely out of the way if you wanted to. Now this is the tool that came with my cabin air filters that you could use if you don't have any other tools of your own, but you should be able to use this to remove that screw. It was, I believe, a Torx screw T15. I've heard others are T20, so if you do have screwdrivers like this one handy, it's probably just good to have this ready to go. So this is actually one of 3 options, because this is also a 6mm bolt. So you could also use a 6mm ratchet, wrench, whatever. That's 6mm to get in there to remove this as well. So a couple different options there to remove this bolt. And also, I've heard on older versions of this, the bolt might be towards the top and not towards the bottom here. Of course, the bottom it's easier to access down here, so hopefully yours is at the bottom. But if you don't see a screw or a bolt at the bottom, check at the top portion of the cover to remove your screw. Once the screw's out of the way, now we just should be able to pop off this cover. It will kind of pop off pretty easily. There is a little notch where it slides into in the top, but there's not much holding it on once the screw is released. You should just be able to kind of lift up and away, and the cover should come off. And now that the cover is off and out of the way, you can see the white cabin air filters in place. These are OEM cabin air filters. Yours might look a little bit different if they're not OEM. But no matter what filters they are, they should have kind of an airflow direction arrow. You can see on the bottom here that the airflow direction arrow is pointing towards the rear of the car. That's the right way it should be. And then these have little tabs on them because this is a cabin air filter, kind of 2 different filters that are the same size, split into 2, so you can actually get them in and out easier. So as you can see, we grabbed that tab and just pulled out this top filter. The bottom one has this tab on it again, so we can lift it up. So we're going to slide it upward and then pull it out so we can get out this second cabin air filter. These are kind of malleable. They can, bend around a little bit. That's actually what's kind of nice about these OEM ones compared to some aftermarket ones, is you can kind of flex them a bit more. Also, I noticed this is the first time I've really seen where it actually has a manufacturer date on the cabin air filter, which is kind of nice too, just because then you know it's not really old. These were manufactured in 2025, so they were less than a year old of when I was recording this, so that was good. But I always like to compare the old to the new, make sure they're about the same. So these are the cabin air filters I bought. These are special active carbon filters that I bought. It doesn't really matter to me. Honestly, you put in whatever filters you want. If there is any disadvantage to these ones, it's that they actually do fit a little bit tight. They're a little bit tighter than the OEM ones are, so they could be a little bit harder to remove once you go to change them again, just because they do seem to fit so snug in here. But as opposed to having airflow direction arrows on it, this one just kind of tells you what way it should face. So it tells you the side that should face the seats and the side that should face the front of the car. So here we are sliding this in this case, the side with the little tiny pieces in it, the honeycomb looking side, is what we're going to slide in facing us in this case. Again, it says to point this side towards the seats, I believe. So we're going to put it in that way. It's a bit snug. Again, you need to line this up and slide it all the way in as best you can. Eventually, of course, it's going to tip, but you're going to have to kind of straighten it out to then slide it all the way down, and make sure you have that tab accessible so you can, of course, get that one back up when you come to remove it next time. And now this top one, again, activated carbon facing the seat, is letting us know that's the way it should be. It's just going to stack on top of the second one. A bit tight of a squeeze. Again, I feel like these aftermarket ones are just fitting more tight than the OEM ones would, or maybe any other ones that aren't this active carbon ones. But you should be able to slide it in all the way. And just a note that if that tab is like missing on there, you might have to work it around top and bottom with some longer screwdrivers. If these are the styles you're removing, you might have to kind of get it from the top and the bottom and then kind of work it back and forth to slide it out. But here's our cover. Again, you can see that top portion that needs to kind of slide in to make sure it sits flush. So you want to really line this up. You want to slide it upward. So you want to bring it from the bottom and then slide it upward so that top part can slide into that groove where it sits. And then your bottom portion should line up where you can put your screw back in. Should line up pretty easy again, and then you just put your screw in place and tighten it up. Double check the top portion once you have it tightened, just to make sure it looks like it's holding up like it should. Of course, you shouldn't be able to just grab that top portion and flex it away. You want this to kind of seal up pretty good. It should look flush mounted to the box that it's in. Now we get to reinstall this bottom kick panel, and this can be way trickier than it needs to be for some reason, so I'm going to try to help you out as best I can. You can see here where it has to slide into. So there is this back portion where it's going to slide up and in. But I'm going to show you from the bottom here a trick to this, because if you're actually trying to push up too hard on it, it's really hard to get it to slide in towards this back piece. But that's one of the first things you want to do, is lift it up, line up this back portion, and slide it inward. So again, here's a tight shot of that, just showing you that if you're trying to push up and slide in at the same time, it just won't go in. It seems like it's not the right fit, and that's because it's catching on that bottom portion and it's not able to slide underneath it, if you will. So now you can see I'm not putting as much pressure on it really in this case, and letting it hang a little bit, but making sure it's still lined up right. And then I was able to push it all the way in place, and now it's hanging by that back hook, kind of, if you will, where it lines up to hold it in place. And once it's hung on there and pushed all the way in, you should be able to just kind of snap up the top of, or the front portion of it, I guess, if you will, the portion closest to you. You should be able to snap it up in place, and then start putting these clips back in as well, where again, they should just push in place. The outer part should be able to push in pretty easy, and then you push in that center portion of those clips to make that outer portion expand to hold it in place. So relatively simple in theory, but I know it's not always the easiest thing to do. But there we go. We have all 4 of those clips back in place, and this panel is hanging up like it should. And honestly, a real quick side note, if you didn't get that back part, if that back part is just really being a pain in the butt and you're not getting it to line up, it's probably not a big deal if you just didn't have it lined up and had those other clips still in place. It's going to hang down a little bit. It's not going to be exactly right, but it's not the end of the world if that is just not held up exactly right, if it's really just being a pain in the butt for you. Now we need to reinstall this other side panel we removed. We're going to line up this the best we can when with these protruding points. There's quite a few spots, of course, where it's going to line up. So we're going to get this relatively in place here, and then I'm going to switch camera angles to give you a better shot where you can see that it lines up. I actually found I did this twice, and the second time I did it, it was a little bit easier to do this kind of starting more from the middle. So I lined up one of the middle spots and then worked my way outward. But of course, this way works as well, starting from the left and working to the right. More than one way to do this, but just wanted to share my experience with you if you're having any issues. Once that's snapped in place, finally, we're just going to put our floor mat back in. If you had one, you can put that back in place. You can put your seat back where it belongs as well. And we are mostly set. We can close our door. We've changed our cabin air filter. There's one final thing I want to show you though, and that's how you can reset this maintenance item on your screen with your computer car. If you click the car icon in the bottom left and then scroll through your menu, you should see service. If you click the service button and then go up to maintenance, click on the maintenance button, and that'll bring you into the maintenance summary with a couple options in there. One of them is cabin air filter replacement. You can just click on that, tell it you're recording the fact that you've changed the cabin air filter, and then you can confirm that. And again, it's going to tell you that you should change it, and I believe every 2 years or so. You can wait 2 years if you want, but it's, again, not too hard to do. If you think of it every year, I'd maybe just do it every year. Thanks a lot for watching this video. That's all I have for showing you how to. But just a note again that, whatever filter you use, it doesn't matter to me. There is a link in the video description down below, though, that if you buy this one, it does help me out. But if you want to use the OEM ones or ones that are a little bit more malleable and easier to fit in there, I totally understand. That might just make this whole job easier for you. Also, I'm just a guy on YouTube who likes to document what he does, so if I did anything wrong or if you know of a better way, you have some tips or tricks after doing this yourself, if you want to share that in the comment section down below, that could be useful for other people watching this video as well. And I mentioned this is a 2023 Model 3 Performance. If this procedure was the same for your particular Tesla, it could also be useful to comment that as well. You could let people know what make and model or what year Tesla you have as well. That might be useful for other people that maybe have a 2020 Tesla Model 3 Standard or Premium to kind of see if this works the same for them as well. So if you could do that, that'd be great and much appreciated. But as always, this is Paul from Boosted Films saying thanks so much for watching. I just want to say that domestic violence is never okay. If you or someone you know is experiencing issues with a partner and doesn't feel safe, please visit the website thehotline.org or call 1-800-799-SAFE.